Due to his busy schedule, Elon Musk didn't have much time to spend with old friends. But this evening, he wanted to take time to trace the past. He was going to meet his old school friend at a restaurant and reminisce about old times. The coolness of the evening made both of them nostalgic for the past. He took a sip from the wine glass on the table and took a deep breath as he thought about the old days when they used to laugh and have fun and spend time together. Just then, there was a knock on the door of the restaurant, and an old, unkempt man entered. His eyes reflected a disturbed state of mind, and his body looked worn and covered in dirty clothes. No one paid attention, but Elon recognized him at that moment. His eyes saw something in this strange man. From the moment he stepped inside, the man's moody gaze was carefully followed as he moved between the tables. "Who is it?" his friend asked, but Elon had no answer. His eyes were still on the man, somehow drawn to this stranger. The man sat down at a table. The owner of the restaurant soon came over and began to scold the man harshly. "How can you sit here? Get up! You have no place in this place." The owner's voice echoed like an explosion, shattering the calm of the restaurant. Elon Musk felt his peace of mind shattered. The anger inside him suddenly erupted. His eyes turned to the man and the restaurant owner. He quickly got up and stepped towards the restaurant. His friend followed him in surprise. "Wait a minute. What's going on here?" Elon asked sharply. The restaurant owner paused for a moment when he saw Elon. "This man shouldn't be here. He doesn't belong here," he said. Elon's eyes filled with fire. "It is not your right to exclude a human being," he said, his voice echoing. The restaurant owner took a surprised step back, but Elon turned to Abraham, whose eyes were fixed on the floor. There was years of pain in his gaze, but this time Elon was determined, not emotional. He took a few steps towards Abraham and lifted him up, grabbing him firmly by the arm. "Please come with me. We can't stay here any longer," he said. After one last glance at the restaurant owner, he said, "I'm taking him out of here, and I'm never letting him come back here again. Do you understand?" And without another word, he led Abraham out by the arm. Abraham, dumbfounded, could not say anything, but Elon's demeanor gave him the strongest hope he had ever had in his life. Elon led Abraham out, holding him tightly. It was cold and windy, but somehow the two men walked on, keeping silence between them. Elon was determined to take Adam to a cafe. They were silent for a while, only the sound of their footsteps. Abraham tried to look up at Elon, but his eyes were still downcast. He had lost so much that there was despair in his eyes. After another moment of silence, Elon spoke softly but firmly. "Do you know his name?" he asked, his eyes meeting Abraham's. "Abraham, but no one cares about that," Abraham said, shifting his eyes to the floor. His voice was hoarse and tearful. Elon realized that the anger inside him had subsided. There are so many people who never once in their lives are truly listened to. He realized how painful it was for someone to look at them with such anger in a world where everyone else closed their eyes to them. "No one knows a person's worth better than he does, Abraham. And I can see your worth," Elon said, knowing what to say even as the cold wind inside him picked up speed. When they arrived at the cafe, Elon opened the door and invited Abraham in. It was a small cafe, but warm and cozy. At every table, people were chatting and sipping coffee. Elon sat Abraham at a table by the window. The waiter was surprised to see Elon Musk and immediately asked for a photo. Abraham sat quietly, caught for a moment by the interested gaze of the other people in the cafe, but then tried to reassure himself. Elon stopped for a moment when he saw the pain in the man's eyes. "Elon Musk? Really?" Abraham finally asked. "The tech giant himself?" "Yes," Elon said. "But today I'm just a human being. When someone needs help, I'm ready to help them. So, what's your story?" Abraham took a deep breath, his shoulders looking as if they had collapsed from carrying all the weight. "I was once a successful cafe owner. For years, people drank coffee here, and I served them. But one day, everything disappeared. My parents died in a car accident. My business went under. Everything disappeared overnight. Everyone I once trusted somehow turned their backs on me. From that day on, I just tried to survive. Now, all I have are my memories. I miss my daughter Sophia very much." As Elon listened to Abraham's story, a look of sadness came over his face. Everything this man had lost had pushed him aside, but with this empathy for Abraham, Elon decided to do something. "Then I will do whatever I can to get you back on your feet," Elon said. "Now let's talk about what we need to do." Abraham could only nod in confusion, his eyes beginning to moisten. Elon began to wonder how he could somehow bring someone who had been in so much darkness into the light so quickly. After chatting for a while in the cafe, Elon turned to Abraham and spoke seriously. "I want to offer you something. I want to help you rebuild your old cafe. Yes, everything may be lost, but I've seen the determination and passion in you. Not only will you get your job back, but we'll create a place to help like-minded people. I'm going to give you what you really need." Abraham stared at Elon in amazement, trying to understand how real this was. Is that possible?" he said, his voice trembling. Elon smiled. "Yes, it is possible. I can't let someone like you fail. A person can be reborn at the most difficult times in their life, and I want your story to be part of that." Abraham's eyes filled with tears, feeling for the first time in years that someone really believed in him. But how?" he asked. Elon paused for a moment and then said, "I'm going to buy the restaurant where we were just sitting, and I'm going to make you the manager. And I will give you all the support you need. You can do anything you want, but I have one request. I want you to help others in your situation. So, in that restaurant there should always be free soup for the needy. That is your duty." Abraham could not hold back his tears. This was not just a job opportunity, but a chance to live again, and not just for himself, but for others. "Thank you, Elon. I really appreciate it. You've changed my life." Elon nodded and said, "Touching someone's life, maybe it can make the world a better place." The next day, when Elon and Abraham went to the restaurant, Abraham, who now owned the restaurant, had named it Sophia after his daughter who had died in a car accident. Everything had changed. Abraham quickly focused on his business and started to get back to his old ways. The restaurant soon became a huge success. Once people heard Abraham's story, they began to support him. Every day, in the back room of the restaurant, he saw Elon Musk's name on the wall and a sign that read, "Sharing the Goodness." Abraham prayed every day, knowing he would never forget this man who helped him. In those moments, he realized that the greatest strength in his life came from the empathy and benevolence of one human being for another. As the Sophia restaurant grew each day, Abraham and Elon's paths connected in more ways than just a business deal. It was the best example of how humanity can still help each other. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more inspirational stories.